All right, it's Wednesday, August 28th, 11 o'clock in the morning. We will call to order the City of Brainerd Personnel and Finance Committee meeting, and we'll start with introductions.
Kara Terry, Ward 1.
Alderman at Large, Kevin Stunek.
Connie Hillman, City Finance Director.
City Administrator Nick Broyles.
James Kronvik, Community Development Director.
Steve Wright, Airport Director.
Chris Schubert, HR Director.
And the library reps too, please.
So hey, I'm Melissa Watley. I'm the director for the Kitchigami Regional Library, and with me today,
Laurel Hall, Brainerd Public Library Branch Manager.
Thank you. We have 7 items on the agenda. The first is to ratify the hiring of line workers. Chris?
We received 10 applications for our journeyman line worker position and interviewed 4 individuals. We have offered the position to John Simmons and Travis Donnelly. At this point, both of them have accepted our conditional job offers. And what we're hoping is Mr. Donnelly at this point still needs to complete, I haven't received the final verification for his drug test, but we've received all of his other information. So at this point, we're asking for the council or the committee to ratify the hiring of Mr. Simmons and Mr. Donnelly for the line workers positions. Mr. Simmons would be placed on step 2, and Mr. Donnelly would be placed on step 4. And then as soon as we get this done, we can ratify the effective date. So we wanted it on today's agenda so that we could get it for Monday or Tuesday night. We'll have more information in the packet as we can.
I so move with the conditions.
I second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Just really quick comments. This is awesome. We had 10 applicants for this position and 4.
Correct. Only 4 of them met our minimum qualifications as
Okay.
far as being a full journeyman line worker, but we did have 4 applications. We are advertising again, hoping to see if we can get a couple more. We had 4 positions that we were actually trying to refill.
And then it says step 2 of the 2023 line worker. And that's
Correct.
because we're in negotiations
We don't
still
have
with
a 24.
BPO.
We don't
Right.
have- don't have.
That's all I have.
Okay, well, it's good to see that people are willing to work for the wages we're willing to offer, so that's great. We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That motion carries. Next up is to accept the resignation of Community Service Officers Unger and Heinlein. Chris?
We received a resignation notice from John Unger effective September 4th and also for Tyler Heinlein effective August 22nd. Staff recommends that the council accept their resignations and to authorize staff to begin the hiring process to backfill one of the positions.
I so move.
And I so second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any questions, any discussion? All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That motion carries. Item number 3, reconsider the Minnesota State Delegation Agreement. James?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. So staff presented information and options at the July 10th P&F committee meeting and recommended that we terminate Scott Sadusky's contract with the city for inspection services for state buildings and have building official Deseth apply for reserve delegation status in order to expedite the process for reapplying for that status. Staff made this recommendation after discussions with the Department of Labor and Industry Code Services Department that denied Darren's full delegation request. Staff later received contradicting information from the Department of Labor and Industry Inspection Department that it would not speed up Darren's requirement for inspecting buildings with at least 5 of the required component categories. Job shadowing a Dolly employee has not been a past practice according to the inspection department. So with the potential Country Manor project starting next spring, staff believes it would be in the best interest for the city to continue contracting with Mr. Sadusky. We have not turned any of the official paperwork to the state of Minnesota. We did send a letter as directed by City Council to Mr. Sadusky. But with discussions with Scott, he has agreed to continue with this contract. So with this, staff will continue to look into ways to expedite Darren's training. We'll certainly speak to see if there's other options. It did take Scott Sadusky 11 years to complete this. Darren's so far been in the industry for 5 years for inspection services, so it does take some time. With that, the motion is to reinstate Scott Sadusky's building inspection delegation contract and allow Mr. Deseth to participate in relevant inspections with Scott Sadusky within 30 miles of Brainerd. And staff would also ask if this is the motion, should the budget be for inspection services be amended within our budget based on the potential Country Manor project. And with that, I can answer any questions.
I so moved to make the motion.
Second.
Any discussion?
What are we anticipating the financial impact?
Country Manor, this year, I think the city probably would have came out ahead. There was a reserve delegation project with the state of Minnesota. It was a substantial amount. Next year, Country Manor, we're looking probably maybe a $20,000 building permit fee that the city would receive. So I think, with the contradicting information, that's where, and the probability that Country Manors, well, it's not 100% probable, very probable it's going to happen. Staff's recommending that we continue with this inspection service contract.
I just have a clarification question asked. So if Country Manor were to go, we're expecting it to be about $100,000 permit revenue, which 75 of it would go to Mr. Sadusky, and the city would retain 25% of it. So just kind of like how we would go. Right now, we don't have any of that revenue because we thought that was going directly to the state. So we could increase our,
So we could add 25, so the March 6% is well on its way.
it's up to you guys, yes.
Okay, any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That motion carries. Item number 5, discussion of the library 2025 levy request.
Number 4.
Oh, number 4, that one was too long to read. Adopt a resolution setting the July 2024 wages for city administrator, department heads, and applicable municipal utility division managers and non-supervisory positions. Chris?
So on February 5th, the council adopted a resolution setting the January 1, 2024 wages for our administrator, department heads, municipal utility division managers, and our non-union supervisory positions. After that date, the council also agreed to July 1, 2024 wage adjustments for our recently settled union contracts for our IUOE Street, IUOE Park, and our IBEW Administrative Support Union employee groups. Now that we have the Public Utilities Department Managers and Supervisors Union certified by BMS, and that the threat of the strike by the IBEW Public Utility Union has been alleviated, it is recommended that the council adopt the attached wage resolution setting the July 1, 2024 wages for our non-union staff. This action is consistent with those 24 wage adjustments for the other union contract settlements. And just to note that wages for future years will be presented when additional 2025 union contracts have been ratified. So again, the recommended motion is to adopt the attached resolution setting the July 1, 2024 wages for this group.
So move.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? So this is, as I understand it, increasing wages by 2.25% as of July 1st, just as we had agreed with all of our unions. And following through.
2.25%.
2.25, yeah.
Yep.
So that's same as 2.25. Yeah. We're just trying to be consistent with all our employees across the board and pay everybody fairly and the same. So I think this is consistent with that. That's what we've been saying we wanted to do all along. So I think this is an easy yes. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That motion carries. Now on to 5, discussion of the library 2025 levy request. Connie?
Yes, so the library board, the Brainerd Library Board has requested a 2% increase for the library levy for 2025. There was a letter included from the library board president, both at the workshop meeting as well as this agenda. Also attached was the levy history for the airport over the last several years. The library, the 2% increase equates to about $3,000 and would be a 0.04% impact to our current levy that was discussed on Monday night. We do have people from the library here if there's any questions. So the recommended motion would be to set the preliminary 2025 library levy.
I so move.
Second.
Setting it at 149 or 152?
152, Chief?
152, yeah.
You're honoring the
Or
2%.
requested increase?
I'm sorry about that. I'll amend it if I have to.
Yes,
To
please.
152.
No, I understand. I just wanted to understand the motion. Any discussion?
This is a minimal increase. I do have a question, 'cause I could ask it tonight too, but as long as you're here, will that $2,000-some increase, Laurel, impact at all the library hours to be open?
So may I approach with some handouts that would give some context to this?
Yeah, you can hand stuff out.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This just helps give some context to where our funding comes from, since it's very complicated. In short, about half of our funds go towards supporting the building, which is a city building, and about half goes towards our operating funds, which go to Kichigami, because Kichigami is the one that operates the building. And so that 2% is, to be frank, not going to cover everything that needs to be covered, but it's going to help us with being able to continue to pay the bills that we need to pay for the building.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Well, okay, yeah, in the preliminary budget that was presented on Monday, I supported just holding it flat. We pay the library, I support the library, and we pay them substantially more than the statutory minimum. We also have in the budget $400,000 for the library in the capital, in the building fund. So I think we should hold it flat. So I'll be a no vote on this, but all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, aye. That motion carries.
Thank you for coming.
Number 6, discussion of the EDA Commission 2025 levy request. Connie, James.
Yep. Thank you, Mr. Chair. So the maximum amount that can be levied annually for an EDA is 0.01813% of the previous year's estimated market value. For 2025, the maximum amount is $214,612. And this is the preliminary funding request by the EDA Commission at their August 1st meeting by a 6-to-1 vote. For 2024, the EDA adopted budget has revenues exceeding expenditures by $43,870. The EDA has authorized $20,000 of those funds for the facade grants in 2024. Just wanted to note a few things the EDA will be working on. The EDA will be setting new goals and strategies in October, as many of the goals, such as the website, have been completed. The EDA will most likely be thinking about a more robust advertising campaign. Now that the website's done, we've started to get some of our concept plans done for the properties. Also, something that's been talked about from the EDA is continuing to save funds each year to eventually have enough money to set up a revolving loan fund. Right now we don't have the funds from the EDA to do that. Hasn't been finalized. There's no parameters for that, but it has been part of the discussions. So with that, I can certainly answer any questions.
Any questions?
So I'll make a motion setting the preliminary 2025 EDA levy remain the same at the 186,812? Is that
That's what it was, yep.
to remain the same?
Okay, I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Again, it was my recommendation for the presentation Monday night to hold it flat. We have this very costly compensation changes going on with the city. We're looking at the second year in a row of an 8% plus levy increase, and that's withholding this flat. I'm on the EDA. We do good work. I don't not support it, but at this time, we just don't have the finances to say yes to everything. We just don't, so. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. That motion carries. And item 7, discussion of the Airport Commission 2025 levy request. Stephen?
Mr. Chair and committee, you do have my written report. So yes, we have requested more money. As we've been speaking with the commission unanimously approved this budget at its meeting in August. We've had many discussions, and so this is the number that we've posted. As you can see, and maybe Connie, I don't know if you've shared our financial report, but we do have a reserve on hand right now. And so we're just trying to establish budgets on how to, prevent these dips and valleys over time. So that's our only objective, is to foresee the future a little bit, not necessarily to solve all of our problems today. But this is where we're at. We do have a reserve, so we can reuse that reserve and pull off of that reserve this year. But that's just pushing some other issues down the road. Any questions?
Any questions?
No, I have a comment. I'll make a motion, but I'm on the airport commission as the city's liaison. And like Steve said, we've had numerous discussions about the levy and the budget and everything, and with the reserve and stuff we have, I would support setting the motion as presented.
At the 146,
No, 152. Or what?
146 is what it was last year.
No, with an increase of 78,920. That's what Steve's presenting, correct?
To go up to 225?
Correct. Isn't that what you're presenting, Steve?
That was the commission recommendation.
Correct.
Yes.
And that's what I support.
Okay.
Make a second on that, just for discussion.
Okay. So has the county agreed to 225? That's a yes or no question. It's a yes or no. Have they agreed to it yet or not?
I'm going to refer to the city administrator on this question.
So I don't believe that they have officially agreed to that. Based on some conversation I've had with the county, I have been told that they're going to hold the levy steady, that they're not going to improve this increase.
So if they're going to hold it where they're at, I see no reason for the city to be funding it substantially more than the county like we do the library. I just don't see why the city pays more than the county does, you know, per tax base. So if they're going to hold at 150, we should probably be holding at 152. And if they jump to 225, then maybe we should consider it at that time. So I'm going to vote no on your motion, Kevin.
And that's what I was thinking too. Maybe we do the increase to the 150 to allow for a bit of an increase, but not the full 78,920. I just don't know how we make that happen in addition to all of the expenses that Councilmember Johnson referred to earlier, but it's something. Not much, but it's something.
Okay, again, I'm going to continue to support it. I think if we take an aggressive approach, that might help the county make a decision in our favor as far as the airport. If we don't, then that gives the county the ability to say, well, the city's not, we're not.
Yep.
Sometimes you have to take the lead.
It's a fair argument. Okay, any other discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Aye. That motion fails.
Can I make a new motion?
Sure.
I would like to make a motion for the 2024 appropriation for the airport to be at the $150,000 mark. I so move.
What we were asking, 152?
They were at 146. That's what was presented on Monday.
I'll support that. That at least gives us a chance to go forward.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to set the airport levy at $150,000. I'm going to vote no. I think we should hold it flat, but all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Aye. That motion carries. They're set at 150 for 2025. Anything else to come before us? Nick, do you want to give an update on your meeting with the airport?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And we did have a meeting this morning, so it didn't make this agenda. I apologize for that. I did ask Chairman Johnson if I could present this, and he said that would be okay. We did have a meeting this morning between myself, Airport Director Steve Wright, and County Administrator Debbie Erickson. And just some background, council had asked staff some time ago to explore options to transfer full ownership of the airport to the county. And staff has gone down that path. Part of that was a meeting, a month or so ago with the FAA. We had several representatives from both city and county staffs. We had elected officials from both city and county, and we also had representation from the Airport Commission, and we also had lots of representation from the FAA. So we talked about the possibility of that option of the city divesting itself from the airport and the county taking over full ownership. And we also talked, in addition to that, you know, there's the structural changes perhaps that we're discussing, but we also recognize that there are some foundational structural issues that need to be addressed too when it comes to different functional areas, IT, HR, finance, facilities, et cetera. The FAA, the gist of that meeting was this process would take 12 to 18 months, and there may be some initial upfront costs, et cetera, et cetera. There's a lot of details that came out of that. What I thought was germane to this conversation today is, based on our conversation with County Administrator Erickson this morning, the county unequivocally does not have any interest in changing the current ownership. I also approached Debbie Erickson. I said, if the city is willing to offset some of that upfront cost, would that change things? And she said no. So the county unanimously, according to County Administrator Erickson, is not interested in changing the ownership of the airport. But I thought that was relevant for this conversation.
Thanks for that update. And with that being the case, I think it's time we, as a city or staff, Nick, you and your team, identifies the problems that we have in IT and HR and finance, and how over-dependent the airport is on using our staff to handle their problems, and how do we get away from that and be 50-50 with the county, Nick?
And I'll speak for city staff. Steve can certainly speak for his team, and I won't speak for Debbie, but the three of us met this morning, and we certainly, I think, are all in agreement that even if we do not make huge structural changes on ownership, that there are some low-hanging fruit that we can address to make us more efficient, more responsive, et cetera. So we will be exploring those options going forward.
Excellent, thank you. Any comments, discussion?
Mr. Chair, if I may, as we talk through the organization and structures of airports, Brainerd's not the only city that's going through these types of discussions. Especially outstations in our rural areas across the nation. We're dealing with these same issues of airport rates and charges versus tax levy support. Our big cities, I've moved here from Mitchell Airport, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. We were an enterprise fund and we were making money. We were not pulling dollars off of the tax levy. At our outstations, even across Minnesota, all of our regional airport centers, Bemidji, Hibbing, International Falls, we are all taking tax levy. And actually, your city has been one of the most lean and mean airports, and we've been running it on a very shoestring budget all the way since the 1940s, since this airport ordinance took in effect. So where we've been operating roughly on the $300,000 tax levy between the city and the county combined, other communities are taking $600,000 to $1 million of tax levy from their regional centers. And so, to say that the Brainerd Airport has been over-dependent, actually Brainerd Airport's been running lean and mean for quite some time. And so are they issues on the table? They are issues on the table. We have air service down. Our enplanements are down, so our typical revenue sources are not coming in right now due to our airline partners. So we got national issues that are really starting to impact local economy. And so those are issues that, and I appreciate it. So that's why the discussion that we had with the county administrator and city administrator is let's put our heads together and let's really talk through on a regional approach because this regional airport does have an economic impact significantly to our economy here in Brainerd.
Thanks for that.
Thank you.
And I want to clarify that I wasn't talking about the operation not operating well, or that you're doing anything wrong out at the airport.
Right.
I was talking about the overdependence being that the ordinance says the city will handle the finances, the county will handle the legal, but the city is doing the finances, the human resources, the IT, departments that didn't exist when this ordinance was passed. So it's not that you're doing anything wrong, but it's just we're out of line in how we're operating according to the ordinance. And I think we need to get that right.
And Mr. Chair, I appreciate that understanding.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Thank you. Anything else? All right, anything else today, Nick, Connie?
Our next meeting will be September 11th at 11 o'clock.
9/11 at 11.
9/11, 11 o'clock.
That's bad luck. Okay, and with that, we're adjourned.
We should do 8.